who am I to be the favorite person of everyone in the world? That is so egocentric. Like, how can I expect that everyone will like me? Get a hold of yourself, So I think the moment that I realized that there's so much going on in that person's life that might influence the decision not to pursue a second date with me, it became so liberating. It is so easier now to just look at a message saying, oh, okay, this is no longer going ahead. Okay. And that's okay. And it's easy and it's light.
Welcome to the Shift Your Vibe to Thrive podcast. My name is Emily Evans Russell, and I'm a single mom, multiple six-figure business owner, and master mindset and energy coach. I created this podcast with two main targets. One, to give you practical tools so that no matter where you are in your life right now, you not only know that things can shift, but you know how to make them greater. And two, to change your frequency so that you become an energetic match for everything you desire. I'm talking your relationships, your finances, your success, all of it. Think of this podcast as your weekly energetic upgrade with a mix of subconscious mind hacks, ways to quantum leap, and consciousness shifts. A place where you learn to sculpt your reality and actually finally truly have the magical life you deserve and one that works for uniquely you. Are you ready to uplevel your reality? I think I hear yes, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Thank you so much for being here. And now let's go to the show. So back in January, I had my friend Irina on the podcast, and we talked about having joy in the workplace because both of us were very focused at that time. We met actually through a business program and conference, and it's the beginning of the new year. So we're all focused on business. And that podcast you guys can listen to back, I think it's episode 6. But today I have Irina on because as we've known each other, and we're just at the end of summer when we're recording this, and we both were really having fun in the summer playing with dating and chatting back and forth of how do we add joy, create joy in the dating process. So Irina, I'm so happy to have you on today.
I'm so happy to be back. And I love, love, love how much our conversations are describing the different seasons where we are in our lives. I remember vividly the January podcast where it was cold, it was freezing. We were driven by ambition and making 2024 the year of business and breakthroughs. And now it's September and it's end of summer. And we both had such a beautiful summer that it just feels the natural thing for us to discuss about how do we make our personal lives and how to make dating fun and actually, how do we use that part of our life to fuel all the ambition and the drive that we have in our professional life. So I love it. I love, love, love how these two come together.
I do too. I mean, I myself really gave myself summer to take a couple months off from my business, from a lot of the extra stuff. I was still doing a bit, but I wanted to spend time with my girls and enjoy the weather and travel. And we actually we got to meet up with each other in Portugal. So we met in Lisbon because you live in London, I live in the States. So hey, that's close, right? And when we were there, we were chatting about dating. You were going on dates, and I was like, okay, let's get into this. How do we make dating apps work, meeting people work, where it's actually fun and it doesn't mean anything about our self-worth? We can actually create the joy. So you in our first podcast talked about the difference between joy and finding happiness. And especially on this topic, I'll be happy when I find this partner or get married, and we go down this weird rabbit hole. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between those two, and especially in this arena of dating and meeting people?
Yeah. So I think both of us are so committed to just breaking free from I'll be happy when, that statement in itself. I'm I am trying to not use it in my life anymore. And then I'm hearing other people using it. I'm like, oh no, we need to fix society. I feel like if we fix society to break free from the sentence, I'll be happy when, the world will be such a happier place. So what we were discussing before is that a lot of people are trying to find joy or find happiness. And I'm coming from the angle, but you don't find joy, you create it, you generate joy. And there are multiple ways we can do that. And we'll go into that in a few moments. But what I find it important to distinguish is that a lot of people are pursuing happiness, But happiness is usually tracked or felt over the long run. So you feel happiness long term with joy. And the beauty of joy is that joy is this high intense positive emotion. So the intensity is quite high and it's all in the moment. Joy is about the now. It's about this moment where you wanted to jump up and down. You wanted to laugh. You felt something. You had goosebumps. You felt something in your stomach. Joy is always about the now. And I think more and more, if we embrace the present and if we really try to understand what will make me smile now, or what would make this experience, this date, this morning breakfast a bit better, imagine if you create all these little moments like this in a day. Eventually, you will have a happy day, and then you'll have a happy week, and then a happy life. But start with pursuing creating joy in all the ordinary moments that you have the chance to do it. And then you'll see that happiness comes as the most obvious like side effect of that.
I love that so much because it really is that presence in the moment, and it's so easy with something like dating to not be in the present, to start going out to the future or what happened in the past when you've gone on dates or met people, rather than this is today, this is this experience. And you said something to me that I love so much because you were like, date the experience. Like we make it so much about the person, date the experience. Can you talk about that? Because that experience involves a lot of different things.
Hmm.
And when we've talked earlier, I'd love you to talk about what creates an experience and like these different ways that we create joy in the moment in different ways.
Yeah, and it's all, by the way, I had to go through some lessons to figure out my own equation of successful dating experiences, because especially dating in London, on one hand, it's a city that there are millions of people. So the opportunities are out there. You have options. It's almost impossible to say, I can't find someone in London, because like mathematically that does not make sense. There's someone for anyone in London. But the side effect of that is that you just have so many options that it becomes very transactional sometimes, and dating becomes a chore and almost a burden, and people are not maybe putting in the effort. So I think back in 2017, 2018, I realized that I had a choice to make. I can either go on all these dates with this feeling of, oh, another date. Let's just get on with it. Let's hope for the best, expect the worst. Well, let's just try it. But then I also realized that, well, I don't function like this. And that's a horrible way of going on a date and trying to see if you're going to click with that person. So that's when I said, okay, in a very selfish way, how can I make dating more fun and not make it about the guy I'm going to meet, but just for the next couple of hours, how can what's in my control to do to really have fun that evening or that morning or that afternoon? So that's when I started looking at dating as I wasn't looking for the end result. So a successful date for me was started not to be, oh, did I like the guy? But, oh, did I enjoy the experience? Was this a moment of joy? Was this a couple of hours that I just felt good? I had a laugh. So that's when I remember I was using Time Out magazine back then that has a list of like top restaurants, top bars, and rooftops in London. So I started looking at all the places that I liked, that I wanted to go. And then I was trying to fit in dates to go to those places. And I know that it sounds almost on the reverse. You kind of want to find the men and then find the place to go to with the men. I literally had to reverse my brain to say, there are all these beautiful places I want to go to. Can I just find someone that for an hour and a half will just have a beautiful margarita on this rooftop that I know I'm going to have fun because I want to be in that place? So that's one of the things that I started doing to just create. I was looking forward to the experience, regardless of who I was meeting. And of course, if the guy was great and the conversation was flowing, added bonus. But I think that helped me to be a bit more detached about, but how will the interaction be? Will there be chemistry? I was just excited to go to that rooftop. The same with, I don't know, summer dresses. I was getting excited about maybe wearing a dress or putting on a perfume that I was looking forward to the right moment to wear some perfume. I would then try to fit in a date to have that experience for myself. So this is not for me to say that, oh, dating became full of maybe materialistic things, but it's more that I was using some pillars of joy, which I was talking about. There are four ways that you can create joy. You either have people around you that can help you create joy, and those people who just fill you up with energy. It's like that's the Emily in the lives for me. So it is impossible for me not to be with Emily. and not absolutely feel like I'm buzzing and I'm full of energy. So who are those people, you know? Their activities. What activities bring you joy? So I was thinking, well, I can go to, I don't know, play foosball or play ping pong or play basketball. Or I can try and see if I can fit in a date with an activity that I already enjoy. So for me, the stakes are so low at this point. I will have fun no matter what. So there are people, there are activities, there are places. So can I use dating to actually explore places in London that I love? A museum, a rooftop, a bar, a park. It's autumn now. The leaves are falling. I just want to go like in the park nonstop. Can I have a date joining me? Sure. And the last thing is things. And even though it sounds materialistic, but things such as a nice perfume, a dress, a pair of boots now, a good scarf on winter evenings that you just want to wrap around your body and have someone who's going to take your arm and go on that date. So I think that's how you start contributing and adding, consciously creating joy in dating. And I'll stop now because I'm seeing your beautiful smile. So I'm like, wow, I went on got a long monologue there. But I think that's what I mean about dating the experience. Create an experience that you will love no matter what. So then actually having chemistry with the guy comes as this beautiful cherry on top, but it's not the make or break.
I love that cherry on top energy is so key because when you've already created these things that you know come from within, like we're so trained to look to the external to make us happy rather than getting that joy comes from within. And I love the specific examples you gave because it really does. You're like, oh, wait, there are places I really love to go and activities I love to do. Like I love to go to the museum and a dress I love to put on. Like I know when I've started to date, it's been so fun because my daughters help me pick out my outfit.
I love that. I love that.
And it's created this really interesting, cool interaction with my daughters, and it's so fun and playful and like choosing the music I want to put on while I'm getting ready. And I've already created, right, this excitement and enthusiasm for the experience that doesn't rely on like, so you beautifully said, the outcome is not, because you highlighted when we become attached to, okay, if the date goes well, like if this guy or woman matches X, Y, or Z on my box, then this was a good date. And then I must be good at dating, or I must be worthy, or I'm not too old, or I'm not, like all the stuff, crazy stuff that goes on in our head. But if we're attached to that, if that's a good outcome, then the bad date means all of the other things. Like there's no one good out there. I'm too old. I don't want it. Like all of the stories that come where the key is not making the result the measure of you.
Mm, mm. So one of my favorite things about dating, and it is, I think, one of the toughest, harshest self-discovery process, because you are constantly being put in front of someone as a mirror who can trigger you, who can either make you feel good, make you feel bad, elevate you and uplift you, or make you feel really uncomfortable in your skin. I think dating is one of those things that if you look from a third party and very objective at the process, God, you learn a lot about yourself. And you can use that. I really think that even in the dates where you feel that, oh, that didn't go well, or oh, I feel like, as you mentioned, some of the fears or the unworthiness, or maybe some self-confidence issues are arising after a date, use that as an opportunity. What's there? What is this saying to me? How can I, like, what's there for me to learn from this experience? And I'm not saying that all dates will give you learnings. Not all dates will give you lessons. Who knows? But I think if you come with a curiosity after a date, don't make it binary about was it good, was it bad, but more, did I laugh at least 3 times? Yes, no. I think that's like, if I did yes, I think that's a good sign. Was there a moment where I felt that I wanted to touch the other person's, I don't know, hand or not? So just check if there was some sort of chemistry. Was there a moment where that person made me feel good about myself? Was there a moment where I made that person feel good about themselves? And I think instead of saying, was it good, was it bad? Is there a follow-up? Is there a second date or not? Just check these little things of what made me smile? How did I actually feel? Is there anything in me that would like to see this person again? And almost approach this with so much curiosity. Again, detach yourself from the heaviness of dating, of did I find the one? But is this my person? will we now get married? Not at all. Like, try to look at it. I just had 2 hours. How did that feel? Do I want more? Do I want less? If I don't want this for a second date, how come? What's there that I don't want to repeat? What did I learn that I do not like and I do not want? So all these questions, they're so magical.
I so you said maybe there's some dates, where we don't learn something. But what's interesting is when the energy you're giving of like, but if you approach it with curiosity, right? And this is unstated, but both you and I function this way of our growth and like evolution as people is a really high priority and value in our lives. So from that lens, everything is actually a value and something you can be grateful for or a lesson learned because how those questions you just gave after a date, all of those are like they give you feedback and information about yourself, how you are with people without making it mean something. It's just this curiosity
Mm,
of like
mm,
I loved when you said, okay, if this made I felt this way or I was a little unsure or doubt or these things came up, that exploration of what is that? Or hey, this I didn't want to do a second date. So what didn't I like is just as valuable as oh, what I also desire to get very clear on, oh, that doesn't really work for me. Okay. You get more and more clarity and more I've found really connected to my intuition of I don't have to justify, like I could say, but there's this, and this is good. I've even left you messages. I'm like, okay, this went really well. And this sounds good. But there's something in me where I'm just my body, my intuition is like, yeah, no, I'd rather tonight, like the experience I would like to have is stay at home and light a candle and a movie. So there's something there that I follow and trust. And it's been a great, how do you say this? I don't know if it's a learning experience, but or to be able to actually speak what is I'm a people pleaser. I've always been a people pleaser. So I want to make the other person feel really comfortable or oh, they want to go out tonight and I guess I could fit it in. But this has been such a great example of going, yeah, but what would add more energy to my life? And if it's like, no, that's going to be draining, like if I tap into that or that's not really what I want to do, I'd only be choosing it to make them happy, then it's been such a gift to go, I can just say no.
Oh, but you know what's funny? You say that you were sending me the voice notes, trying to just almost verbalize your thoughts, and
Yeah.
you have such a strong intuition, and still you question it. But should I go on a second date? It felt good, but there was something iffy at the end. I actually found you the one who taught me to say, Irina, you have permission, and here's your green light to say no. He looks good on paper, did all the right things. How did you feel? I was like, Emily, there was something that just didn't feel right. Then no, trust it. And again, that comes with age. So I think dating in my 20s, there was definitely more of an element of, no, but let's give it another chance and let's just explore. And maybe, but he is nice or he was funny. So let's just try again. I'm not saying that I don't give second chances as more now in my 30s, but I think I'm so much more selective. As you said, my benchmark. So the question that I use to understand, do I want to go on a date with this person or not, is would I rather be on my sofa reading a book? And if it's a clear yes, I'm like, then this person has no chance. Because if I would rather, I love my time alone. I love the life that I've created. If a book at this point creates more interest than actually discovering this human being, I think I'm very okay for that to be my almost like my barometer, a yes or a no. And I think as we advance in our lives, we have so much just more intuition, more wisdom that we gather as women. Use it. Really, really use it and leverage it. There's something in our bodies that is very in tune with understanding, sounds good, don't want it anymore. Or, oh, it maybe is not who I wanted. Like it doesn't tick all my boxes, but there's something about the energy of this guy. There's something about this chemistry. Maybe we're gonna give it a second chance. So really, really, I think you're the one who actually taught me how to question my body more, how to talk a bit more with my inner Irina and say, how does Irina feel about this? Would she want another date? And I think that's beautiful. And I only started doing this quite recently after we were talking. And it's so powerful. I have the answers. Like literally, I know what I want. It's when I start overthinking and overanalyzing that it becomes complicated. I'm like, no, but I always knew if I wanted a second date or a third one or no.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love that because as we were chatting, I'm like, is it a full body yes? Like you're gonna know. And it's so true. Our embodied wisdom, like when we ask from that place, people call it different things, intuition, embodied wisdom, but there is a knowing that is there that if we trust it, and I will even say, when we second guess it and we go into the mental of like, maybe, yeah, I'm not totally feeling it, but I'll go on another date. Even that is valuable because, say, the second date, it's I've had this happen. I'm like, oh, I did know that on the first date. So it builds that muscle of acknowledging, wow, I really am that aware and intuitive. And when sure, I can try to do the mental, like, or checkbox or whatever that is. And when you realize, wow, that never outweighs what is actually me and my sense internally and embodied of like, what's the energy here? It doesn't follow logic. It doesn't follow a checkbox. And so that's in itself, like you said, such a great growth process
mhm.
that is so turned up for dating. It's awesome.
It's awesome. And it's like, if there's something that I want for people to get out of this conversation is for dating. Like, I'm so sorry for dating as a word, maybe the bad rep that it got, how exhausting and daunting and just tiring it can get, and there's no one good out there, and this is just a waste of my time. And especially for really ambitious and driven women, dating is becoming quite an energy investment. So I know that I could be using 8 hours a week, I don't know, creating a new product, perfecting a new skill, really tuning into my knowledge at work, versus trying my luck, dating this person, dating the other person. So I think if we go into this process with this like heaviness on our chest of, oh, I hope this works out, yet another attempt to make it work, I want us to stop thinking like this, because dating in itself has to be fun. The adventure, the journey of it has to be light. It will become more complex further on when you're trying to understand if you are building a relationship or there's a couple or there's a future building. The dating part, God, this has to be fun. It has, like, literally the only outcome of date number one should be, do I fancy this person enough to have a second date? That's all. That's all you want. You don't want to understand their pedigree, their ability to, or I don't know, association with values and goals in life. Did I feel something close enough to a feeling of butterfly, of just an emotion that makes me want to have a second date? That's all you want. And I think the moment that I started accepting that the first day should just be fun, light, like, how do you make it more fun? That's when I started having probably some of the best encounters of my life. And you know what's funny? Some of the best people that I've met through dating did not even maybe proceed into a second date or a relationship. But I've met incredible men who then were great networking opportunities for me to get jobs. There are 2 jobs that I got just because 2 years after I had a date with that guy, I was like, you work there. So we connected. I was like, look, we had a date back in 2015. We hit it off. There was no chemistry, but you're a really cool person. I'm interested in this company. Could you put me in touch? I've had job interviews. I've had people recommending me new music, new places in London, new books. I think when I just accepted the first date as this portal of just knowledge and information and fun, so many beautiful things started happening, because for me, I wasn't looking for the guy. Again, I didn't define the success of a first date as, oh, is this the one? But it's more, did I get something out of it? Maybe a book recommendation, maybe a future idea of a trip that I want to plan. The amount of people who told me about their great trips and the travel experiences, I come back with a list of places I want to visit just because I dated some of the most exploring like men out there. So I love that.
I love that so much too, because no matter what, you're creating engagement and connection with another person. So, like you said, you never know where that is going to lead.
Yeah.
And what's so interesting is I was talking with a friend who lives also in another big city with millions of guys, right? And she was like, yeah, but I've gone on so many dates and there just doesn't seem to, they seem so hard to find. And I said, yeah, but look at it with women friends. So we seem to put all this pressure when which makes like it's a date and I'm looking for a person. But I said, think of the women you meet in your life. A lot of them are not your best friends that you're going to have this dynamic, and those people that you have are so special, right? Yet
Mm,
you found them. You
mm,
found them. You have those people in your life. Just you might, that man that really is going to, maybe rarer, but we are designed to like find those people, and everybody else, just like all the women you meet, like you're talking about, they maybe recommended a book or you learned about this place, and we don't put the pressure on those people like we do someone of the opposite, whoever you're interested in dating, because we like it's in a different lens. But if you remove that lens and are just like, hey, I'm getting to meet a person and this is so
exactly.
exciting.
A person, right? So I'm dating to meet a person, not a future partner, a future father of my children, a person. I'm just going to meet a person now. How about that? I'm just going to look at this person, try to find out more about them. And that's it.
That's it. It's so, and it dissolves all of those things we buy into like so quickly. And that big one is there's no good men out there, or I wouldn't be able to find anyone on an app, or I would like to only meet people in person. All these rules
Yeah.
we put in place. Like I remember I messaged you after dating someone younger, and you said, now let's not draw any conclusions from this about, okay, now we need to go older, or we need to like, because we so quickly categorize where every person is a new person
Yeah.
and experience. And so to not allow our minds to draw conclusions, but really follow that internal intuition and knowing that's there. It's regardless of like all of the age or the job or the pedigree, all those things you said that are just so silly that we do. And instead I get to meet a person. Let's have fun and experience this.
Yeah. And just, I'm sure that a lot of other women feel the way that you mentioned how your friend was saying that I'm just tired and it's just, I'm never going to meet anyone.
Yeah.
There's no one on the app. I've dated all the guys in my city, or I've exhausted all the apps. Nothing is working. The algorithm is against me. It's also okay to take a break. I used to, again, for about 4 or 5 years of my life, my birthday is in May. I used to make May a non-dating month because you do go through, sometimes you go a little bit, you get tired, or maybe you go on this, because dating is such a vulnerable process as well. You want to put your best self forward, and you have to be a bit vulnerable so you get the other person also to be vulnerable. What's the point in becoming two robots dating and sharing a Malbec over over dinner? You want to be a bit vulnerable, you want to open up a little bit, and I think that builds fatigue. Imagine opening up a few times a month, a week, however often you date. So that can become tiring. And I remember I love my birthday, and May for me, it's such a special month. I realized that, oh, that's a month that I only want to focus on my energy. I want to be quite selective and quite precious and protective with my energy. That I want May for me not to be in a position where I have to give energy to other people, or I have to build or really work at making a conversation go. The funny thing is that every May, when I was deleting all the apps, I was off, I was not pursuing any dates, that's when like some of the coolest people that I met in my life would come through. So I think, and it's not to say, oh, it's when you least expect it, they will come. But what I would say is just honor whatever you feel. There's no point in you grinding the dating app and pushing yourself to go on date if you're not feeling it, and if you're not in your most, I don't know, sensual, the playful self. If you're tired, honor that. Delete the apps. Take a break. Take a break for 4 weeks. See if you have any intention of installing the app. If you don't, or like going out or trying to make eye contact with a guy and smile. If you don't feel like it, honor it. Give it another 4 weeks. Really, really honor it. It's the most pointless thing for you to go on dates where, and I'm so sorry, but a lot of women do that. They're just exasperated. They show up on a date and they're just the most tired and almost a shell of a woman. It's not fair for that person either, the partner that is there at the table, really hoping that, oh, I'm having a date tonight and I'm excited. And we just come with the most exhausted brain, absolutely fried of all the dates and yeah, how we feel about dating. So honor, when you feel tired, remove yourself. It's the best thing that you can do.
I love that so much because we really are, especially women, we're cyclical. We have cycles where, so it really does make, there are times of the month, whether you still have your period or not, we
Mhm.
function cyclically, very different. So to honor those times of the month where we're like, I really want to go out and get dressed up and be seen. And
Oh,
then other times we're like, this is way more internal. And it could be part of just a month cycle. It could be bigger. Like you're saying, honor those phases
mm,
where and that's also such a amazing skill and capacity to tap into of like, hey, this has been fun, and right now maybe I'm feeling like I more want to work on my business or be at home or nurture my friendships, or I'm celebrating my birthday. And then when you also honor that, like you said, you never know what will show up in there, but it's like to really follow that is very different.
yeah. And I'm jumping from one topic to another, but I just remembered the way almost dating helped me learn about myself, how to honor some of the needs. I'm realizing how much information I'm getting from dating as a process that is also helping me in other areas of my life. I think we were discussing before that not to survive dating, but in order for you to enjoy the process and actually really flourish in your dating period and thrive and feel good about it, it's really important not to take things personal. It's so important to understand this has nothing to do with me. Of course, sometimes there are maybe bits of lessons that you're like, maybe I come across in certain ways that create some sort of friction or resistance with the partner that I have for the night, for the date. But I think I cherish so much the lesson from dating of it's not about me. That person, if maybe I felt that the date went well and then a second date didn't come and the person maybe never got in touch or they didn't feel the same way. I think at the beginning I was taking it quite like, oh, I did something wrong, and oh, he didn't like me. And it's like it hurts. It stings. You want to be liked. We as human beings want to be liked. We're social creatures. But the more I was dating, the more I realized that I have no idea what's happening in that person's life. Maybe an ex-girlfriend came back. Maybe they had to, something appeared in life. Maybe it was me, but also I can't be liked by everyone. Who am I to be the favorite person of everyone in the world? That is so egocentric. Like, how can I expect that everyone will like me? Get a hold of yourself, So I think the moment that I realized that there's so much going on in that person's life that might influence the decision not to pursue a second date with me, it became so liberating. It is so easier now to just look at a message saying, oh, okay, this is no longer going ahead. Okay. And that's okay. And it's easy and it's light. Sometimes it stings because sometimes but I thought we had a good time. But what's important is do not make that mean something about you. Never. It's a data point. It's a fact. We do not put meaning to that. It means nothing about me as a person.
I think this is a great place to then make that connection between that, what we learn from that sting. I love how you call it this, a little sting, to actually be with that. But then that rejection quote, that's, what we tend to like, oh, that this isn't going forward. Okay. How has that helped you in your business world, in your job, because it's not, we, again, we're growing, right? So how have you extrapolated that into that world of not making it personal? This isn't actually, this is information I'm getting that I can use, but it doesn't mean anything about me as a businesswoman, as a partner, as all of that.
It's so funny how I realized that. It was the most, so the way that dating helped me become just better in my career and my business. I was having a conversation, I think 5, 6 years ago, with some of my friends who were job hunting, and they were saying, I just can't handle all these rejections. I'm going to interviews. I don't have any callbacks. I'm like interviewing, I'm going to the final stage. I think there's an offer there. And then they say, oh, they chose someone else. It's like, it's hurting. I can't do this anymore. And I realized at that point, I was like, oh, I'm going through interviews as well, but I don't feel the harshness. I just don't feel so emotionally drained or so personally attacked. And I was thinking, why are my friends so just, they feel so low about how they're getting rejected by interviews or companies, and I'm absolutely fine. And then I realized, oh crap, I've been dating for like 7 years. You get used to that on a daily basis. You meet great people and then they either call or they don't call back, or they call, you have a second date and completely flops. And like, how on earth did that even get to a second date? And not to say that I've had only bad dates. I've had beautiful dates as well. But I think you just normalize it so much. You have good ones, bad ones, funny ones, delightful ones. And it just, you almost like the thick skin you need to have to date in, especially in big cities like London. You don't think, as I said, you don't take things personally. So then when you face rejection or someone maybe not committing to a promise that you felt that you had. Maybe a company said they're going to call you, or a prospect said, yes, they're going to get back to you, and then they never got. A discovery call that I had with my ideal client. I thought we're going to sign. I thought this is it. And then they say something else appeared and priorities shifted. I'm like, okay, because I just know how it feels. And it comes from, I think as a woman to go through dating, you just develop some sort of a bulletproof, like almost like this how do you like the coat of Superman, like you have this invisible coat of this no longer hurts me as much. And it really, really transfers for me in my professional life as well, because I can detach what that means versus what I make it mean for me. And all of a sudden, a client changing their mind, a company not getting back to me, a workshop that was supposed to go ahead and then the venue canceled, is more like, interesting data point. What did I learn? How do we move on from this? And I honestly got that from dating. I really, really, I developed that mentality from dating, which is phenomenal.
It's phenomenal because it's that not being attached to an outcome and not making it, like you said, there's so many things going on with, say, in dating. We don't know what's going on in that person's world. With business, like you said, all the things going on to create that workshop or that program or the interaction with the client. And we try to make one meaning about it. Like, I'm not good enough. I must not be a good enough woman for this person. It's like, that's one of 1,000. Your mind just wants to hook onto that one. And it's so limiting. And when we can go, it doesn't mean any of that. It's just information that I get to then use. It's so amazing to look at that. And I just wanted to make that connection before we finish our chat, because I was like, we could go on forever about this. Which is wonderful because it's a topic that I want to explore more with you. I am so glad to have met you again, like through one of those, it was business and then it turned into friendship. And now we're like, what else can we talk about and really give to people? Because this is an area where a lot of people struggle, or where I was like hesitant after being married for a long time. And then in a relationship, I was like, ooh, am I ready to go into this world in my like late 40s? It's different, right? I've loved chatting with you because you're in your 30s. I'm in my late 40s. It's we get to choose your own adventure and in a way that works for you, which is so cool.
So cool. And choose your own adventure. That's, I think, exactly what we should, we should let people feel. You choose your own adventure.
That. Thank you. Mwah!
Thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you, everybody. I hope you got something out of that episode. If you like this podcast, please share it with someone you know who'd find it useful or interesting, and subscribe so that you can listen to past and upcoming shows.